Hi, Susan here. Okay, you guys asked for it. You wanted me to do designs with the brand new dress sloper that I have available online. We're going to do a gorgeous lingerie wrap, and that's what's next. I already have the hard copy 5-piece sloper set as well as a torso sloper set you can purchase on my website, and you will get the hard copy in the oak tag. It'll be hand copied and marked and sent to you all over the world. But finally, guys, I have the PDF downloadable printable version on my website as well as Etsy, and that is in the 3 main sizes of the dress sloper: the front sloper, torso sloper, the back torso sloper, and my special gusset sleeve that is great for most every design. And I already have a video showing you how to find it, print it, and put it together, as well as making a mock-up, which I have here on the dress form, showing that the medium, the one that I cut for myself, fits myself, as well as the dress form very well. So I'm ready to go. I've been kind of tossing this idea of this lace wrap or this little teddy. I have this beautiful black embroidered fabric that is on like a very fine netting. I washed it. It washed well, so I know it'll perform well in washings. And I kind of doodled this little wrap top or wrap robe while I was waiting for my computer to be fixed, and I thought I would show you how to do that simple design. It's January 2021. Valentine's Day is just around the corner, and this might be a kind of a cute thing for you to do for yourself or on your own. Let's get you started. Let's do that on the flat now. Here is the front bodice, and first I want to point out that this is a wrap, right? That means that this side is not the same as that side. That means it's asymmetrical, meaning I'm going to have to put this front torso on the fold and open up a piece of paper to do the design. But before I do that, I picked my medium, which I cut on the line for the medium, and it has these 3 apex points. The first thing you want to do is to check your apex point. This is the medium right here, which I'm going to show you. I just measured here from apex to center front. I doubled it and I checked it on myself, and that's buzz point to buzz point, guys. If that's good, you would get a separate piece of paper like this, because I want to do a few different things first. I want to move this dart from the side dart to a French dart. I think it'll be more appealing for the lingerie set. I'm going to eliminate this dart altogether, and I'm going to keep this one, but I'm going to relax it. So now I have a piece of paper kind of big enough to give it space all the way around this sloper. And then I'm going to put a pin or a push pin. I have a corkboard underneath, which could be helpful. And I'm going to go ahead and put a push pin on the apex point so that I can pivot this and do this demonstration for you. I want to move this dart to here, all right? So the first thing you do, you start from the point of where you want the actual design to be. And if it's right here, it's going to be right there where I'm going to put a marking. I just decided that's where I want to have it. And then I'm going to start tracing upwards towards that dart. Once I get to the dart, which is here, I'm now going to have to close this dart so they can open there. So what I'm going to do is then now take that point here, pivot, so I can close that dart completely like that. Finish drawing the rest or tracing the rest of the shape out like this, including all notches. That's the armhole notch. Until I get to the spot where I started, which is where that French dart's going to be, and then I will release it. I'm going to go ahead and take this off, and this is the apex right here, and there is the new opening for my French dart. So now all I have to do is first put the dart legs in from the actual apex on. You never make the dart go all the way to the apex, so now I'm going to drop it. about 1 inch to 1.25 inches from in the center of those dart legs, and this will be the new dart point. You never ever go to the apex. I'm going to draw those dart legs again in. There was another dart that was right here. Because I don't want that one there, I'm going to release it. I'm measuring the width of that dart, and that is these two lines here, and the width of that dart is approximately 3/4. And I don't want to take out a full 3/4. I'm going to take out maybe just about 1/2 inch because I want to just have it a little bit looser. So now that is where the waist is, right here. As you can see, this was the waist notch. Make sure you put those waist notches in. Here's the waist notch here as well in the front. And I'm going to take out that 1/2 inch here at the waist. I'm going to blend it a little bit to that dart like that. So I'm just taking out this much here from the waist, not disturbing the hip too badly. Before I cut it out, my torso sloper is a little bit shorter than I want for the actual garment, so I'm going to add a good 3 inches to the end of that sloper like that. I'm going to true that dart. That means I'm going to have to fold back the bottom part of the dart, which is where the red line is. Like that. Curve it to the top. Let it concave. Now continue that line. So now I have the little dart inside that would be missing otherwise. Now I have another piece of paper that's folded. So the center front, I'm going to make this so it opens up. I'm going to put in my new designed sloper. Give myself enough room on the top for my seam allowance here. Okay, now I'm going to trace it. I'm now only going to put this new dart point and of course apex just to have that reference. I'm going to put a notch here. It'll be easier for you to see. Trace around this dart all the way down like that. Before I finish the design, I'm going to actually go ahead and cut this out with seam allowance. So around the neck is only going to be 1/4. So I'm doing 1/4 per parallel lines, 1/2 inch at the shoulder. I'm going to be removing most of that shoulder, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. 1/2 inch around the armhole. I'm going to cut this out. Now I have the pattern opened up. I have this dart from the apex as well as, so you see this really deep French dart. I have a light line showing where the waistline is. I have a line showing the center of this garment. And I'm only going to make it about 2 inches from the shoulder, so I'm going to put a marking here. That's all I really want. I want it to be a nice wide wrap, so I'm going to do it 2 inches here, and I want to make sure it dips really low to show of the breast area. So I'm going to try to put now, and I want it to be at least 1/2 inch to 1 inch above where the waistline is, because I'm going to have a thick ribbon possibly to tie this with. So I'm going to just sort of eye this shape that I want here for my wrap. correct it there. I'm going to give myself a 1/2 inch seam allowance where I'm going to turn that back here at the neckline. Now I'm going to cut out on that design line. This is the wrap, and then of course it'll also be this way, so it'll crisscross. Okay, for the back, I folded a piece of paper here in half as well. I'm going to place this a little bit higher up than normal because I want to have enough there for the extra hem that I need. Like that. And we're going to eliminate this shoulder dart, so I'm just going to pin it or tape it, whatever works for you. Like that. It's going to concave, that's okay. We're going to absorb that. I'm eliminating this dart. We're going to release this dart, so I'm just going to go ahead and trace all the way around here. Like that. And take this off. I pin this together. Going to be 2 inches will be where the neckline starts. I'm going to take my French curve and just sort of blend in that shape from where the neckline is. This will be the new neckline, not that, to the shoulder and onward. Let me go ahead and add my 1/2 inch seam allowance everywhere. Almost creates like a little boat neck in the back. Put in the front so I know how much lower to do this. I'm taking out part of that dart as well. Eliminating that other dart. And making that the new hem. Drawing the new hem. And then pulling this in. Now we're going to do the sleeve in 2 parts. It's going to be kind of like a poof, so I want to first trace out a part of the sleeve, let's say maybe from here. I folded it in half. You have to make sure that your sloper is in really good shape and everything is accurate so that you can fold it in half and it folds properly. The front is going to be a lot smaller than the back. That's normal. Just trace around the side. I have a folded piece of paper underneath. Like that. No seam allowance yet. Okay. Now with another piece of paper, and we're going to spread this. So I'm putting this here, just so I can get an idea, like that. And I'm going to spread it in several areas to open up this cap, and I'm also going to raise the cap. So first I'm going to trace this portion here like that. And then I'm just going to open it up, moving this here till I get to this line, opening up a little bit more, moving it out again till I get to this point here, moving out just a little bit more. I would say that's good. And the bottom like that. So now I opened up this sleeve so it's fuller. I want to raise the cap, I would say at least 1.5 inches higher. I'm going to draw out my new cap. Like this. So you can see it's much wider as well as taller, like that. It might be a little too high, so maybe I'll go down a little bit lower. Maybe I'll do this. Get rid of that. Okay. Now I'm going to add my seam allowance. It has to be perpendicular there always. I'm going to add my 1/2 inch seam allowance. Like more like a leg of mutton type of situation going on there. I'm doing it by eye. Make sure it'll go around your arm, so you have to always measure it and see. If it'll go around your arm at the desired point. I think it's a little too long, and this needs to be squared off. This is my special gusset sleeve, so it has excess down there, which is good. It looks weird, but that's a good thing. And I'm going to go right here for the cap. Now you have to have it, for the front, it needs to be a little bit less on the curve. So I'm going to just take out a sliver. So this is where the front is, and there's a little extra for the back. That's normal even in a style. Now this is the front, so I'm going to match that up with the front armhole, making sure everything matches and we have the notches in the right spot. I'm walking the pattern. Here will be the notch. And you can see all of this is going to be in the fullness there. You can see that. So now we have the 3 main pieces. The green line will be parallel to the center front. For the front piece, green line is the center here on the sleeve, and the green line for the back piece is parallel to the center back. Usually I like to do it about 2 inches from the center back. Now we're ready to cut. So I have it laid out here on the fabric. I pressed the fabric. I opened the fabric up because this is asymmetrical, meaning this piece has to be open. And so I'm opening everything and cutting it one at a time. It's actually like a nylon fabric or mesh that the embroidery is embroidered onto. And it's a very delicate fabric, but I think it's going to be really great. I lengthened the front just a tad bit here in the front, and I did like a little bit longer on the back so that when you're sitting, that your butt is, you know, not showing, right? And so I have all the pieces here ready to cut. So let's get to the sewing now. It's not uncommon to design something without having a sketch. This one I actually kind of really did in my head, just kind of jotted down my thoughts, but it wasn't a full-blown idea sketch before I started this project. I just wanted to do a simple dart manipulation, alternative to the dress sloper so that you can start creating and widening your view of what you can do with this great sloper. So let's get to the sewing. Let me show you the darts now. Wanted to do a little applique with a lancin lace on top of the bust area, covering the French dart. Just something soft. As you can see, the French dart is here and you can barely see it. This is doubled, but this is more exposed. So I wanted something right there. You can see with a small zigzag, you know, before fancy machines, that's what we did. We just zigzagged very finely around and through the actual applique. Then I put a stay stitch for the wrap part of the neckline so that it will not be too wide. And then I turned it back once and pressed it. And on this side, turned it back one more time and stitched it. I'm going to continue that on this side. So I'm sewing these little ties, just 1 inch of the fabric on the bias and sewed it. And then one of the sides I sewed straight through, and then I'm now turning these ties. Like that. Now that I have the 4 ties, I'm going to put 2, on this side to tie this side together, as well as 2, 1 in here and 1 in here to sew this together. I want it to be a little bit snugger on myself, so I'm probably just going to be cutting off a little bit of this. I just did the 1/2 inch seam allowance right now just to see how it fit. I did try it on, and I might have to make some adjustments. Okay, so I just made the little sleeves and did the gathers and put it into the top just to do a quick try on, which I'm not going to show you. And I noticed that it was just too big. I mean, the sleeve did not have the shape I wanted. It was just too long. So I'm going to show you my corrections I'm going to do now on the flat. This little pin here, you can see, safety pin, is my length that I want it to be. And because it is a special sleeve and it has a very little gusset area going on here underneath the sleeve, it's hard to make it kind of a leg of mutton. So it's going to be just sort of a puff alternative. I'm going to cut a 1/2 inch or so above that with the pattern itself, all pieces. I didn't have to release this because as long as this is where it's supposed to be, I'm fine. So I'm just going to go here like this and here like this. That way I'm actually correcting the pattern at the same time. I'm going to take this little piece and do the same thing to this piece. Always take the little sliver like I did here, because I took some of this off on the front as well, and just pin it to your pattern or whatever, because that way you'll never forget to correct your pattern in the end. Like I said, I released this dart because I took it in 1/2 inch for the pattern, as you can see. But I'm going to put this dart back in because I want a little bit of shape. So I mapped it out. It's approximately 3/8 to 1/2 inch in width at the waist, and then it goes up 5 and 5. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew this dart in. I did add a lot to the hem and it was too much, and I'm going to, with the fabric there, actually cut it off. In the back here as well, I'm going to take some of it off. Just follow the same amount because I want the curve there to still be there. It's like 1 3/4. Now I have pinned in the sleeves, which are going to be really cute, short and sweet. I put most of the gathers right there on the cap and kept it pretty smooth underneath here and underneath the arm. So let's go ahead and sew that now. So there it is on the dress form. It's a little cover-up lace or embroidered wrap that you can make from that simple dress sloper that you can get now. I have a velvet ribbon around it right now. If I decide I wanted to actually have it for the garment, I would just do little thread loops here to hold that intact. I would want it to be removable for washing purposes, but just to show you underneath here, we have the tie that's on this side, as well as the tie that we have inside there as well. And it is just that cute little wrap that you can have, a little something to make possibly for Valentine's. Whether you have anybody to show it off to, just make it for yourself. Here's your little puff sleeves. So the 3-piece dress sloper set that you can get now in a small, medium, and large. This is the changes that I made to it just to make this cute little wrap. Let me know in the comments if you like it and you possibly want the pattern, and maybe that'll happen. Otherwise, give this a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and make your Valentine's little wrap. Do a little self-care, have yourself feel good, even though we're still quarantined, and enjoy that little lesson. Enjoy that little lesson that I'm showing you, so you can do almost anything with this. And this is just something to just get you to start creating. All right, see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.